I still remember the exact moment my world shattered. The phone rang on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. I was in my small apartment near base, still in uniform after a long day of training new recruits. When I saw my sister's name on the screen, I smiled. Emily and I had always been close. Or so I thought. "Hey, Em," I answered warmly. "What's up?" Her voice was ice cold. "I did what I had to do, Sarah. I reported you." Reported me? My heart skipped. Reported me for what? For falsifying your service record. Those words hit me like a punch to the chest. I stood there frozen, the phone slipping in my hand. Falsifying my service record? Me? The sister who had served honorably for 8 years? The one who had deployments, commendations, and scars from real missions? I tried to speak, but my voice broke. "Emily, why would you do this to me?" She didn't even hesitate. "Because you don't deserve it. You've always acted like you're better than the rest of us. Mom and Dad poured everything into you while I stayed home struggling. Now everyone's praising Sergeant Selah and her perfect record. I couldn't take it anymore, so I sent the letter. They'll investigate, and when they find out the truth, your whole career will be gone." She hung up. I sank onto the couch, tears streaming down my face. My own sister, the person I had protected, helped through breakups, and sent money to when she was broke, had just tried to destroy everything I had built. My hands shook as I stared at my medals on the shelf. Every ribbon, every deployment, every late night studying for promotions. All of it suddenly felt fragile. That night, I barely slept. I kept replaying our childhood, how I had always been the responsible one, how Emily resented every achievement I earned. I thought family was supposed to lift you up, not tear you down. But betrayal from your own blood cuts deeper than any enemy on the battlefield. By morning, the official notice arrived. An investigation had been opened based on credible allegations of falsified entries in my service record. My commander looked disappointed. Whispers started in the unit. Some avoided eye contact. Others gave me pitying looks. I felt exposed, humiliated, and completely alone. But deep down, something inside me refused to break. I had faced real danger overseas. I had lost friends. I had pushed through pain most people never understand. If my sister thought she could end me with a single letter, she was wrong. Little did I know, the real storm was just beginning, and the one person who would stand between me and total destruction was a military judge I had never even met. The weeks that followed were the hardest of my life. Every morning I woke up wondering if this would be the day they took my rank, my pay, or my uniform. The investigation team pulled my entire file apart. They questioned my old supervisors, reviewed every deployment log, and examined every commendation I had ever received. I sat through interviews where they asked me the same questions over and over, their faces cold and suspicious. I felt so broken. At night, I would cry in my car after work, asking myself what I had done to deserve this from my own sister. Emily didn't stop there. She called our parents and painted me as a liar who had cheated the system. She even posted vague messages on social media about people who fake their way through life. Our family group chat turned silent. Mom tried to stay neutral, but I could hear the doubt in her voice when we spoke. Dad just said, "I hope this gets cleared up." The worst part? Emily seemed proud of herself. When I finally confronted her in person, she looked me straight in the eyes and said, "You always got everything, Sarah. It's my turn to watch you fall." Her words shattered what was left of my heart. I realized then that jealousy had been eating her alive for years. While I was away on deployment, facing real threats, she was home, comparing her life to mine, and letting resentment grow into pure hatred. I stopped sleeping properly. My appetite vanished. I threw myself into work even harder, determined to prove my record was clean. But the stress started affecting my performance. One of my superiors pulled me aside and said, "Sarah, you look exhausted. Is everything okay?" I wanted to scream the truth, but I just nodded and said I was fine. Inside, I was falling apart. I questioned everything: my worth, my choices, even whether I belonged in the military at all. The betrayal felt like a knife in my back that kept twisting. How could someone who shared my blood want to destroy me so badly? But slowly, something shifted. The pain turned into quiet anger. Then that anger turned into resolve. I gathered every document, every witness statement, every email and award citation I could find. I hired a strong military defense attorney who believed me from day one. He looked at my record and said, "This is solid. We're going to fight." I started preparing for the disciplinary hearing like it was my most important mission. I told myself, I survived war zones. I can survive this. My sister may have tried to bury me, but I was going to rise stronger. Still, fear lingered. What if the system didn't believe me? What if one false accusation was enough to end my career? The waiting was torture. Every day felt heavier than the last. The day of the disciplinary hearing finally arrived. I walked into that formal room with my heart pounding. My uniform was pressed perfectly. My medals gleamed under the lights. My attorney stood beside me. Across the room sat my sister, looking confident, almost smug. She avoided my eyes. The military judge entered, a stern, experienced colonel with decades of service. Everyone stood. The proceedings began. My sister presented her evidence, mostly her own statements and a few twisted interpretations of my record. She claimed I had exaggerated deployment dates and inflated certain qualifications. Her voice was steady as she told the judge I was a fraud who didn't deserve to wear the uniform. I felt my chest tighten. For a moment, doubt crept in again. Then it was my turn. My attorney laid out the truth with clear, undeniable proof. Official deployment orders, signed commendations, witness testimonies from commanders who had served with me, and time-stamped records that matched every entry. Nothing was falsified. Everything was earned through blood, sweat, and sacrifice. The judge listened carefully, his face unreadable. Finally, he turned to my sister. His voice was calm, but carried the weight of authority. "Ma'am, you filed a serious allegation against a fellow service member. After reviewing all evidence, this board finds your claims not only unsubstantiated, but knowingly false." The room went completely silent. He continued, "False accusations like this damage good soldiers and waste military resources. Sergeant Sarah has served with honor and distinction. Her record stands clean and intact. As for you, your actions have consequences." My sister's face went pale. The judge announced that she would face her own investigation for filing a false official statement. She could lose credibility in any future matters involving the military, and the stain on her name would follow her. Our parents, who had attended, looked devastated. Emily tried to speak, but the judge raised his hand. "This hearing is over." As we left the room, I didn't feel triumphant revenge in the cruel sense. I felt justice. My sister had tried to destroy me out of jealousy, but the system and that judge had my back. He saw the truth when it mattered most. Walking out into the sunlight that day, I felt something I hadn't felt in months: peace. My career was safe, my reputation was restored, And most importantly, I had proven to myself that I was stronger than the betrayal. Emily tried to apologize weeks later, but the damage was done. Some bridges, once burned, can never be fully rebuilt. I chose to focus on my future instead, mentoring younger soldiers and living with integrity. Here's what I learned through all of this. Family can hurt you in ways no stranger ever could. But real strength isn't about never falling, it's about rising, even when the people closest to you try to keep you down. Never let someone else's jealousy dim the light you've earned. Stand tall in your truth. Because eventually, the truth has a way of shining through. And when it does, it can change everything. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you loved, know that you're not alone. Drop a comment below. I read every single one. And remember, your record, your honor, and your worth are worth fighting for.